Welcome to the Explainer. So, you're a focused learner studying world language Chinese, which means you already know that intensive reading can sometimes feel a bit like trying to decipher an ancient secret code. But today we're transforming you into a master code breaker. We are digging into a dedicated strategy guide for decoding complex Chinese texts. Let's jump right in and unlock the secrets to reading Chinese with total confidence and a whole lot more speed. Look, we have absolutely all been there. You turn the page or scroll down your screen and you're just hit with it. A massive, intimidating wall of Chinese characters. Your brain freezes up, a little panic sets in. You might be thinking, there is no way I know half of these words. How am I supposed to understand this? Well, I'm going to let you in on the ultimate secret of advanced readers. You literally don't need to know every single word to understand the text. You really just need to know how to spot the structural signposts. So here is our detective toolkit for breaking down intensive reading passages today. We'll cover the SVO decoding strategy, the power of grammar particles, reading clues from radicals, navigating sentence structures, and finally, putting all these strategies into practice. All right, let's kick things off with part 1, the SVO decoding strategy. This strategy right here is the absolute foundation of everything we're doing today. Think of it as your primary weapon against those giant, scary paragraphs. So what exactly is SVO? It's simply the technique of scanning complex sentences to isolate just 3 core things: the subject, the verb, and the object. You see, when Chinese sentences get super long, it's almost always because the author has piled on layers and layers of descriptive fluff. SVO decoding means training your eyes to just ignore the fluff for a second and find exactly who is doing what to whom. Your ultimate goal is just finding those SVO signposts. Once you uncover that basic skeleton, the rest of the sentence magically starts to make sense.
In English, the time, place, and adverbs often come at the end of the sentence. In Chinese, however, time, place, and adverbs usually come before the verb, often between the subject and the verb. When you read a Chinese sentence, find the SVO first. Identify the time, location, and adverbial part before the verb and the complement after the verb. When a Chinese sentence gets complicated, focusing on the SVO structure will quickly find the main idea of the sentence.
Moving right along to part 2, the power of grammar particles. Now you're probably wondering, how do I actually find those subjects and verbs in a giant sea of characters? Tiny grammar particles. That's how. These act like literal neon highlighters on the page. Take the particle day. If you see a really long, complicated phrase followed by day, whatever comes immediately after it is usually your core subject or object. It's basically a stop sign for a long modifier. Then we have particles that point straight to your verbs. The structural words de usually precede or follow a verb. Furthermore, aspect particles like le for past actions, je for ongoing actions, or prepositions like you are almost always glued right to verbs. Spot these little guys and boom, you've just found the V in your SVO. Modality verbs are another massive cheat code for finding verbs. These are words expressing desire, ability, or necessity. Words like yao for want to, bishu for must, yinggai for should, neng for can, or daswan for plan to. If you spot any of these characters while scanning, you can be 100% certain that the very next main word is going to be an action verb. They are literally pointing a giant arrow right at the action of the sentence. Let's shift gears to part 3, reading clues from radicals. So, what happens when you perfectly isolate a word using those grammar particles, but you realize you actually have no idea what the character itself means? Don't panic. You don't need a dictionary if you know its building blocks. Look at these radicals, the hand radical, the movement or walking radical, and the foot radical. I want you to build serious muscle memory with these. If you're hunting for the verb in your SVO structure and you see a character containing one of these radicals, your alarm bells should instantly ring. Because so many actions in everyday human life involve our hands, our feet, or moving around, characters with these building blocks are highly likely to be your verbs. Zooming out a bit for part 4, navigating sentence structures. We've looked at the micro level with particles and radicals, but at the macro level, it's all about how an author glues those SVO sentences together. Conjunctions are the literal skeleton of the author's argument. Let's contrast 2 incredibly common ones. First, the A and B listing structure. Words like shouxian for first of all, qixi for secondly, lingui for in addition, and hayo for also. This immediately tells you the author is stacking equal points. Contrast that with the first A, then B sequence structure. 首先, then 然后, 接下来, and 最后. This tells you the author is walking you through a timeline or a strict process. If you train yourself to circle these words the second you glance at a text, you instantly understand the entire logical flow before you've even read the details. And finally, part 5, putting strategies into practice. It is time to put on our detective hats and apply this toolkit to a real case. We're going to look at actual texts written about student experiences in Xi'an and Beijing. Take this sentence from the Xi'an text. It looks a bit heavy, right? But let's use our tools. Boom, right at the very beginning we see 首先, meaning first of all. That's our structural conjunction. We know this is point 1 in a list. Then we scan for our SVO. We see 我, meaning I. There's our subject. Now, where's the verb? Keep scanning. Ah, there's a la particle. What did we learn earlier? La is a neon highlighter for verbs. So we look right before it and see 学会, meaning learned.